What is up, guys? Welcome back to yet another brand new Major Ben Gaming video. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day as always. Now today we're going to take a look at Assassin's Creed Shadows with the PSSR update. We're going to do some side-by-sides, mainly in performance mode with PSSR versus TAA, just a couple of side-by-sides to see if you can see a difference. I do want to note that HDR seems to be broken or not working properly right now in the new PSSR mode, which is really strange, but anyway, that's just how it is. We're also going to take a look at the hideout and show you the frame rate of that area now that it's actually been unlocked, which is really nice to see. So let's get into some side-by-sides first of the two modes, and then we'll just walk around and do our usual type of, like, you know, first impressions point. Let's get into it. Okay, so here we are in side-by-sides. Now again, ignore the color differences, but I would say overall it is slightly sharper on the PSSR side of things, just very slightly. You can see it on the leaves. It's slightly sharper. Obviously the color's annoying, but they've just broken it for some reason. And again, here you can see the second comparison. Look at the trees. You can see it is slightly sharper, looks less oil painting like with the PSSR mode, which is a really nice addition. So that kind of aspect of things is actually good. Shame that HDR is broken, but hopefully that'll be fixed in an update soon. But anyway, without that, you can see a decent difference. Let's look at the hideout and see what the actual FPS difference is in these modes now. So let's jump in and I'll tell you what the frame rate is, because it's just my frame rate counter on my display. So at first, let's do the PSSR version. Now, if I'm just staring here, the FPS is about, well, it's bang on 58 frames per second, just staring off into the distance here. This is with PSSR on, so you can see we're around about 58 frames. Well, you won't see it, but I'm just going to let you know from my monitor counting. That's 58 frames. Now, if I bring up the old TAA mode, so turning off PSSR in performance mode, we are at a bang-on locked 60. And that is something I want to note, that it's great that we've got PSSR, but it is actually slightly more demanding. Now, when I'm running around in the TAA mode in the hideout, I have not had one single dropped frame as of yet in this TAA mode now with this update. It is basically a locked 60, 90% of the time in the hideout. Now, I haven't put a lot of effort into my hideout because I just don't care about doing that sort of things in a game. I basically dumped the buildings where I needed them to get the trophies and get everything done. So we're at 60 frames. Now, swapping back over to the PSSR mode on, let's do that. It's definitely a lower frame rate. We're about 50s, low 50s to high 50s, I would say overall. With VRR, which I have, you really can't notice it. So with the additional sharpness that we do seem to be getting from PSSR, in my opinion, I'd absolutely play in this mode because it's just slightly sharper, slightly cleaner image, and as long as they fix HDR, it'd be a better way to play overall, which is a really nice addition to have. So let's go out into the world. Let's just go to a random point. We'll go to the this pagoda over here. Let's have a look at some different modes, and we'll do some other quality and balance modes and stuff, and just have a look and see what the differences are there. But yeah, I gotta say, this definitely does look a little better with PSSR. It's a little bit hazy still, a little bit like unclear. There's still some aspects of it that I don't like, that I would have liked rectified. But let's have a look at the balance mode, because what we do get in balance mode, and it may be a little bit hard to show off, but what we are, of course, we've got to restart. What we are getting in the balance mode now is we actually have the ray tracing features that we had from the quality mode before, that was only locked at 30. So we don't get the higher resolution. None of that's changed. Everything's the same, but they now add ray tracing, as far as I know, to the to this mode. So it's basically the quality mode, but at 40 frames and a slightly lower resolution than what we did have on the quality mode. But I just want to see what it feels like with PSSR, what it looks like. I'm not going to do loads of side-by-sides to this. You guys know where to go if you want to find that stuff. We can perhaps do it in a separate video. I might do a few more side-by-sides if people are interested in seeing that sort of thing. But yeah, we got some water here, so I'll just run through this so you guys can just have a look at your own details and reflections if you want to see all that. I want to have a quick look to see if I can see if there's a huge difference between PSSR and TAA. Now, I want to say that this update is not that huge. Like, it's not going to be a huge difference between these modes. I'd say PSSR again in this mode is slightly sharper, and it definitely runs, I would say, more fluidly with the PSSR mode in this mode. Let me just check that, because it definitely felt like there was a bit of a difference there. No, there's not. Ignore me. It's exactly the same. It's just as 40 FPS as it is in each mode. But yeah, I would say overall, PSSR is a slightly sharper version than what you were getting. What you were getting on the previous version of the game with TAI. So it's slightly improved. Let's have a look at some water detail here. We've got some reflections. If we now switched, we can't just jump between modes. I hate that you have to do a restart. This way is now a very good way to play the 40 FPS mode with the ray traced reflections and stuff. It's definitely a nice upgrade. For me, I would still choose the 60 mode every single time because it's just, in my personal opinion, it's always the way to play a game. I think having anything lower than 60 is just not kind of my way to play personally. In a lot of these titles, I can make the occasional allowance to 30 FPS or 40 FPS when you're playing on something like a handheld, like a Switch 2 or whatever, but when it comes to a home console, I want my 60 frames. But this, I have to say, it looks very nice. And if we were to go back to performance mode, which is where I'm going to spend most of my time, let's just do that quickly. Performance, let's do PSSR because we know it's the better version now. We'll be using that going forward whenever I play this game. Overall, like, I'm sort of very conflicted with PSSR overall with these games that we've had. Like, in some mindsets, I'm like, oh wow, this is PSSR is, I've got to go back down, god damn it. PSSR is a nice upgrade and everything, but when you look at it compared to, obviously, and I understand PSSR is its first time doing this technology, and I fully get that, but when you look at something like DLSS or FSR, I mean, FSR not so much, but I'm sure with FSR4 that'll improve. But DLSS, and you look at the comparisons between sort of DLSS and PSSR, what DLSS does is still far superior, boosts performance far more. Like, you would think putting PSSR with AI upscaling in a game would give you better frame rates as well. But what I'm actually seeing on screen right now, we're only running about 53 FPS. We are actually seeing significant drop frames on PSSR compared to TAA. TAA is definitely more stable. But anyway, as you can see, like, we've lost the ray trace reflections compared to what they were like before. Personally, I really never see that big of a difference. Like, you still got a method of reflection. Yes, it's not clear like this. It's not as good as ray traced. But when I'm never noticing these things when I'm actually playing a game and I'm not standing around looking at this stuff, which I just don't do. It's not a huge deal. But I want to put back on for the kind of last comparison here. I kind of want to just put back off PSSR. Yeah, we are seeing decreased performance, definitely, with PSSR. We're at a locked 60 here, no frame drops, but we absolutely are seeing frame drops with PSSR down to the low 50s. Now, again, if you have a VRR display, you're not going to feel those differences. It's not going to make a difference, and you do get that extra sharpness, but it is something to note if you don't have a VRR display. I've not had a single frame drop in the TAA mode, but I absolutely am getting frame drops with PSSR, and that is interesting because it just shows there is a hit to... Oh, I do feel it a little bit, actually. Like, there is a little bit... You do feel a little bit less fluid, and yeah, it's not quite as... the motion is not quite as fluid in this mode. So that is something worth noting, that you do absolutely get frame drops with PSSR, and it just does show that PSSR does take a significant hit on performance, even though the image quality is not actually that much better compared to the TAA method they've got. Now, TAA is very good. I want to say that TAA is incredibly good overall in this game anyway, so that's probably why it's a more difficult comparison. It works very well for what they're trying to do here. So anyway, I think we'll kind of stop there. I think that's enough. Like, I don't think there's anything more that I can say about it that probably isn't going to be tested. Now, obviously, people are going to do pixel counts, people are going to do frame rate counts. We don't do that here on the channel. We just look at what the image actually looks like, because that's what you do. You don't see a graph. You know, we'll occasionally look at FPS like we have today just to check if it's actually dropping frames. But as I said, if you've got a VRR display, it's not that big of a deal. So that is something worth noting. But without further ado, let's end the video there. Please like, please subscribe if you are new to the channel. Thank you so much for your love and support on the videos recently, and I will see you in future videos. Bye bye for now.